Hi everyone, I'm Kristen and this is episode 36 of the Queen City Yarn Dyeing to Knit podcast. This podcast is about knitting and yarn dyeing and crochet and weaving and spinning and just all of the crafty things. So thank you so much for stopping by today to hang out. You can find me online on Instagram as CHRISTENC and also Queen City Yarn. You can find my designs over at Ravelry, CLEMENT designs, and also my designs are available over at QueenCityYarn.com. You can find all of the gorgeous yarn over at QueenCityYarn.com. And yeah, I think that's all. So I have lots of things to talk to you about today. I have so many finished objects. The table in front of me is covered. So many things to show you today that I have finished. I have a couple of newer designs that I'm going to show off. I have lots of things in progress, lots of socks, and yeah, just all kinds of fun things to show today. So let's talk finished objects. I've got a table full, so let's get started. The first finished object that I have to show off today is a new design, and this is the #Chadborn cowl. This is a cowl that I designed using Queen City Yarn's newest base, exclusive base, spun right in the North Carolina mountains. This is Chadborn up here at the top. It is a marled version of our Berry Hill yarn, which I used the naked color of Berry Hill with Chadborn in this cowl. This is a colorwork cowl. It's kind of an intermediate knit because there are some longer floats, and so you do have to kind of catch some floats, but this is what it looks like on the inside. I love the inside of colorwork almost as much as I love the, public side. So this is the #Chadborn cowl. You can find the pattern over at on Ravelry or over at QueenCityYarn.com, and there are a few kits available over at QueenCityYarn.com using our new Chadborn yarn and Berry Hill together for this cowl. So that's my first finished object to show. Where even to start next? I'll show the rest of them that are my designs first, I guess. I don't remember whether or not I had finished this pair of cozy crisp cabled mitts the last time we chatted, but this is another new design of mine that released in the beginning of October, I believe, or maybe the very end of September. I still have ends. I have not woven the ends in these yet. Oh, actually, okay. I'll talk about the yarn and I'll chat about that. So these are the cozy crisp cabled mitts. This is one of my designs. They feature a beautiful cable on the front, and then the palm is ribbed. There's a thumb gusset for a great fit. The rib and the thumb gusset really make these mitts fit a wide range of people. They're sized child through adult large, and this is the adult medium that I have on right now, although I do have a pair of the adult small that I knit as a sample, and they fit as well because this rib is so forgiving. So this is the Cozy Crisp Cabled Mitts. I used Queen City Yarn's Biddleville DK for this design and for this pair of mitts. This colorway is a one-of-a-kind colorway. It is the very last skein that I had left from the sweater that I'm wearing, actually. This is my Rituals pullover. It's a LOCATELLI pattern that I knit last year. So I had one skein left and I used it to knit up this pair of Cozy Crisp Cabled Mitts. So this design is available over on Ravelry as well as at QueenCityYarn.com. So there we go. And then I have a couple of my designs that I have re-knit. So I knit myself an off-the-cuff hat. This is a design that I released a couple of years ago, I think. So when we just moved, I actually left the original with Janice because she uses it as a sample for shows, but also she likes to wear it a lot. So it is a fun kind of ribbed hat that has a little bit of a brioche to it, and I really love it. I love a pom-pom, I love a slouchy hat, and so I've finished this one. This is another Queen City Yarn Biddleville DK project. I love this yarn. It's so soft and it knits up so nicely, and I use it for a lot of things, a lot of accessories for sure, especially this time of year when I am knitting a bunch of gifts. So this is the off the cuff hat. It looks just like the one in the pattern because I used the same colorway. This is the eggplant colorway in Biddleville DK. Okay, so I have another I have so many hats. I'll show the hats. So I am about to release an update or another TREADHEAD hat pattern. So far, the TREADHEAD hat was my first design, and I released it back in 2017, and I released it as a worsted weight pattern, and then I released a bulky weight version, and now I'm going to release a DK weight version, and there's going to be like a bundle thing where, so if you have the other two, you'll get the DK weight as a free thing. I just have to figure out how to do that in Ravelry. So this is the DK weight version. I knit up this one in the colorway It's Fall Y'all, which I absolutely love. I knit this up for Janice to take up to India Untangled Rhinebeck weekend because she re-released one of our first colorways. This is It's Fall Y'all. This is knit up using new techniques. So it's the same colorway as the original It's Fall Y'all, which was one of our original 8 colorways for Queen City Yarn. And we have just revamped it using the new techniques that we've developed over the past 5 years of dyeing yarn. And so it gives the speckles that, you know, signify the beautiful leaves this time of year. They pop just a little bit more in this re-release of It's Fall Y'all, and it still has that sandy gray fog kind of color as the base. We just really love the way this turned out. So It's Fall Y'all was re-released at India Untangled, and I knit up a DK TREADHEAD hat to show off the new colorway. And so this one that I just showed is the super slouchy version. It's really long. I love hats with a lot of slouch, and I kind of just crumple it up in the back. So this is the super slouchy version. I was playing around with length, and I knit up an adult small, which this is actually going to end up being a Christmas gift. But this is using Hedgehog Fibers DK, which is I think it's the same kind of base, same yarn base as what we use for our Biddleville DK. And so this is another one. This one's just a little bit slouchy. It's not quite as slouchy as the It's Fall Y'all sample that I knit up. And so this is using Hedgehog Fibers DK, Merino DK, and this is the Oracle color, which I think is just absolutely beautiful. I've had this in my stash for a while, and I just hadn't found the perfect project for it. But I absolutely love the way the TREADHEAD hat breaks up and plays with the color in, you know, highly variegated hand-painted skeins of yarn. So this is in a speckle. That's really blowing out here. Let's see. Still trying to get used to the new camera and all that jazz. So here it is in Oracle, and here it is in the It's Fall Y'all speckled skein. So the TREADHEAD hat, the texture in this hat really plays well with hand-dyed yarn. Some of those crazy skeins that you have in your stash of DK, or you could actually hold a fingering weight double for that as well. Okay, let's stay on the hat bandwagon. So I am currently working on a new design. It's not necessarily a new design. This is a pattern that I've used for years and years, knitting hats for my brothers and my brothers-in-law, my brother and my brothers-in-law. I usually knit hats for the holidays. It's a great, you know, quick, gift knit, and so I've knit many, many hats for everyone over the holiday, over the years. And I didn't talk about it the last time. I'm gonna knit so I can talk for a few minutes. So I didn't really get into it the last time, but soon after we moved back up to Pennsylvania, we lost my brother-in-law. He passed away, my brother-in-law Daniel, and so that's been really hard. You know, losing someone so young that you love so much is always hard, I think. But Daniel, so the day before he passed away, he called me and asked me if I would knit him another hat. And just like this gray one that I knit him a year, 2 years ago, but he needed it to be black. And I said, of course I will knit you a black hat. And so I had all intentions of casting on the next day. And unfortunately, we lost him unexpectedly that night. And so I didn't knit the black hat. But Daniel was a hero. He was a veteran from the United States Air Force. He was an EMT. He was a police officer. He was a volunteer firefighter. He was captain of his local volunteer fire company, and he was just a helper, a member of his community that we've missed in so many ways. But he loved to give back, and he loved to serve others. And as captain of the fire company, he was in charge of the fundraising efforts for the fire company, and that's something that he really, really enjoyed. And so with his passing, and thinking about, you know, not knitting that hat for him, I want to honor his memory by continuing to fundraise for his fire company. The members of his fire company, they were like a family. They loved him very much, and the feeling was mutual there. And I'd like to do what I can to continue his efforts to support those first responders who show up when needed. And so what I'm doing is the hat pattern that's been living in my head for years and years, that I've knit for all the boys for the holidays almost yearly. I'm going to write it down, and I'm going to have it for sale. And what I will do is I will donate all of the proceeds to his fire company in his name. So I think it was Elizabeth Zimmerman said, you know, we heal through the rhythm of the stitches. I knit to think, I knit to remember. Knitting gets me through so many things, and this is a really hard thing that we're getting through now, and it feels good to be knitting for a cause that is meaningful to me and to my family, and certainly was to Daniel. So all that to say, I've knit some hats and I have my pattern out to my tech editor, and I'll be calling for testers tomorrow, actually. So this is going to be called the Hat for Dan. The first one that I knit for my brother, actually, for his birthday. This one I held 2 fingering weight yarns together. This is a DK weight pattern because that's what I use most often for the boys. And so this is one that will be my brother's for his birthday. This I used, I believe it was Woolmize Blend and Tosh Merino, maybe Madeline Tosh sock for the other color. So it's like an olive and a black that really marled together and turned out really beautifully. This is more of a beanie style. When Chad wears it, it'll be a little more fitted than it is on me. So that one I knit. And then we have a baby in the family. We have quite a few, or a couple, but the newest member of the family is Nicholas, and so I knit him a blue hat. This is the baby size. And then Colton, who is Daniel's son, told me that he wanted a blue hat this year. So I knit him a blue hat. And then I knit one for me that and I knit it in Home Team Gray. This will be the hat that is the featured like pattern photo, I guess. And this is Biddleville DK. This is the adult medium, and I knit some extra length for some slouch because I love a slouchy hat. I have a pom-pom that I'm going to put on it, but I forgot to grab it. So yeah, it's a DK weight hat. It's super simple. It's going to be a hat that if you had a friend that you wanted to teach to knit, this would be a great one to do it. Cast on, do some ribbing. The body of it is stockinette, and then it's very simple decreases that would be certainly appropriate for a newer knitter. Definitely an easy project for seasoned knitters. Yeah, so this is it. Home Team Gray. It's going to be called A Hat for Dan, and I hope you like it. So, hats. Okay, so I have a couple pairs of socks to show off now that are finished. I finished Kevin's socks, massive socks that are on my sock blockers, but there's like so much that's not on them because he has massive feet. So the yarn that I used for these beautiful, crazy, bright socks that will be Kevin's Christmas gift is Fab Funky Fibers. I'm really trying to learn what spot it is that things focus, so I think we're there. And this is called the Big One Gradient. And I knit two, tall socks with very long feet because Kevin has very big feet, and I knit them opposites so that they would, I don't know, not match, but match, but still look super cool. And I used a Knit Picks stroll, just like black for the toes and the heels, which I did an afterthought heel there. I still have a marker in. I also still need to weave the ends in. So those socks are done, aside from the ends, that is. And then I knit myself up a pair of Swift gift socks. So Janice sent me a picture of a colorway that she had designed for like Halloween called Witch's Brew, and I told her, yeah, I'm gonna need a DK sock set in that. And I cast on the first one early October, and got down to the heel and then set it down because I was going to record a tutorial for picking up the stitches. And then I didn't have time to do that, and it was the day before Halloween, and I was like, but I want to wear these on Halloween. So what I did was I went ahead and finished the first sock, cast on the second sock, and finished the second sock. I finished them at like 10 o'clock on Halloween, but I love the way they turned out. I've worn them a few times. So I used Witch's Brew for the main color, and then the coordinating mini was Just Peachy, and that was included in the kit. And I used every bit of the Just Peachy. I decided I wanted to do Just Peachy toes, and so I eked them out of that 20-gram ball of coordinating color, and I really love the way these socks turned out. And DK weight socks are just so quick, and the Swift gift sock pattern that I've designed uses just about all the yarn, depending on what size foot. So yeah, I really love the way these turned out, and I will be casting on another pair or using one of my other pairs of socks to record that tutorial at some point for how to pick up the stitches on the heel flap using in the little garter bumps that I've had you create in this pattern. So this is the Swift gift socks designed by me, Kristen Clement Designs, and it is available on Ravelry and over at QueenCityYarn.com, as are some sock kits if you want to pick one of those up to knit them with. All right, I have 2 more finished things. The first one is called All Work Gnome Play, and this was the mystery knit along gnome that I did in I think it started in August or September. Sorry, let me pull up on my phone. So yes, by Imagine Landscapes does these knit alongs for mystery gnomes, and this one just turned out so cute. So I used Queen City yarn for her. Her hat and her cute little mittens are in the rose gold colorway, as is her little bottom here. Her body and arms are worked up in the Huddle is Real, and then her nose and her braids, which are cabled, are knit up in essentially birthday suit. It is a mini skein that we were kind of playing around with, just like tinting some yarn for like a sandy kind of base, and so it's a little bit tinted, a little bit tea stained, but I just couldn't be more happy with how she turned out. And she lives over here in my office with this little guy that I knit up in the spring, and they just hang out and they watch me work. And I've already signed up for the mystery knit along that she's going to be hosting in the month of December. And Queen City Yarn has some yarn kits, and also you could pick yarn from your stash, but it's like 4 colors of fingering weight yarn, little mini skeins, and it's a clue every day. And some days is a clue, and some days is like part of a story or a recipe or something like that. And then before Christmas, before Christmas you have a little gnome. And I did it last year and I enjoyed it so much. And some of my friends are doing it, so it's a good time. And my plan is to have a group of office gnomes and then also a group of holiday gnomes, and yes, to put out as decorations for the holidays. All right, I have a couple more finished things. I'll show the sweater. This is the super simple summer sweater by LOCATELLI. Lean back so I can show it in all of its glory. This was worked up using Rowan cotton cashmere, and in this like corally pink and like a neutral off-white kind of colorway. So this is done and it fits. I haven't washed it and blocked it yet, but I think I'm going to be taking out the ribbing on this bottom stripe, completing this bottom stripe in the round in stockinette, and then adding an additional stripe because it doesn't hit exactly where I want it to, and I think adding another stripe would be just what it needs to work out as I'm hoping. So you might see that as a finished object again when it is refinished. So since the last time we chatted, I got visits from Janice and my friend Alexis. Janice stopped by on her way to India Untangled and spent a day with me, and that was really, really nice. And then Alexis came up, who's one of my really, really good friends from South Carolina, came up and spent a weekend, and it was so much fun. We did some crafting while she was here, and one of the girls that I follow on Instagram, her name Rissa Creates, has been doing some really gorgeous ornaments for like holiday ornaments and been posting them on Instagram and giving me all of the ideas. And so this ornament, what did I do with my phone? I wanted to tell you what it's actually called. I'll put it on the bottom of the screen, but it is the vintage style yarn woven star Christmas ornament, and I will put in, I guess, a link maybe for where you can find that. But what you do is you cut out some pieces of cardboard, and then you hot glue them together and use these little pins. see if I can, that's too close. Where is the focus? So you put pins in it, and then you put some craft paper on the inside, and you weave your yarn around them. This is one. I made 7 of them, and Alexis made 6, I think. Here's another one. I really love the self-striping ones, how they came out. Alexis is a paper crafter as well, so she brought all this gorgeous holiday craft paper for us to use for the inside of our little ornaments. And then as we were making them, we were saying, oh, it would be so cool to put a school picture inside and give as a gift. Wouldn't that be neat for the kids to give as a gift to grandparents or something, or other family members? So I just used the leftovers of holiday-ish yarns that I had in my bag of like yarn for holiday ornaments. I hope these are focusing. I'm having a hard time seeing whether or not they are actually focusing. But it was a ton of fun to make. It took us an evening, and it was just a really nice way to spend an evening together crafting. So I want to make some more. She left me with tons of paper to make more. That's blown out. There we go. And yeah, so I haven't really made, I don't think I've made ornaments this year. If I have, I don't remember them. But now I have a bowl full of woven ornaments. They were a lot of fun to make. And definitely something that we could do with the kids as well. So that's why I'm thinking maybe some of, we could make some as gifts for family members. Okay, there's one other thing that I finished, and this is a big one. My woven wall hanging. So it's downstairs in the living room hanging up, but I'm gonna post a picture and I'll talk about it. So now there'll be a picture of the wall hanging. So I'm so excited about this, finishing this piece. I have been working on this, or procrastinating working on it, for about 2 years, I think. My husband made me the frame loom a couple of years ago as a birthday present, and I completed one project, and then I put this on there, and it just took me forever to finish. I used all kinds of different yarn in this. I used some that my mom had got me from a local co-op down by her. I used some yarn that my brother and his wife brought me back from their honeymoon, some silk from Thailand. I used some leftover yarn from a huge blanket that I knit for my husband. There's a couple of really special yarns in this project. So the silk that my brother and Danny brought back from their honeymoon is in here, and I used it a couple of times. I'll point that out here. And then also I included some yarn that I used in a couple of shawls that I knit in preparation for my wedding. So I used this light blue color here to knit the swallowtail shawl, and I wore that at our rehearsal dinner, for the rehearsal and at the rehearsal dinner, and I used that a couple of times in here. And then I also knit the same shawl, the swallowtail shawl, for my mother-in-law. And the one that I made her, I beaded with some beautiful copper beads, and the shawl just matched her dress perfectly, and she wore it the whole time, and it was just gorgeous. And I was so proud to make that for her for that day. And yeah, I think there's some yarn that my friend Danny dyed in here that I got when she opened up London Fog Stitchery, so I've included some of that in here. And yeah, I really love the way that it came together. And I have it currently hanging on the wall on like a command hook in the living room, because I'm not positive exactly where it will hang. I'm not positive enough. We don't have all of the furniture and stuff in that room yet to be 100% positive that I want to put a hole in the wall. And yeah, so that is all of my finished objects. Let's talk about what's on the needles. I have socks. I have like at least 3 pairs of socks because that's what I have in here, but I'm pretty sure there's more pairs of socks than just 3. I also have a sweater on the needles, and I think that's it. I have a couple of hats that I'm working on, but I didn't bring those over because one of them is a design, and you know, when it comes to designing, sometimes it doesn't work out and you gotta rip it out, and that's where I'm at with that one. So let's start with socks. I have 1 pair of socks that you've seen before and 2 pairs of socks that you have not. So this first pair is in my Philadelphia Eagles bag that my friend Jenny made. Kitchen counter crafter, although she's no longer making bags, but that is one of my favorites, and I use it for sock knitting during football season. And the yarn that I'm using is called Fly Eagles Fly, and it's a colorway by Lolo Did It. I got this yarn a couple of years ago, I think. I knit my husband a pair of socks with it, but I have enough left for a pair for myself. And so I cast on the Sporty Shorty socks, which is one of my designs. It is a very short cuff with some short row shaping to avoid that sneaker slip that tends to happen in shorty socks for me. It's got a heel flap and a double gusset heel, which let's see if I can show that off. You can see the double gusset heel. All of the decreases to get rid of those extra gusset stitches are made here on the bottom of the sock. And then I've started this athletic rib that goes for most of the sole of the sock. And yeah, so that's the first one. I have not cast on the second one yet, but as soon as that first one is done, I will be doing that. And then I will have another pair of Eagle socks for me. The next pair of socks I cast on because I think I was in the gusset decrease of the Eagle socks, and we were going over to a friend's for the kids to play and to have dinner, and so I wanted to cast on just a stockinette sock just for easy knitting. So this is another Kitchen Counter Crafter bag that I got from Jenny when she was at the Carolina Fiber Frolic. Actually, I think is when I got that bag, when I actually got to meet Jenny. This yarn is Nomadic Yarns, and the colorway is Merry Kitschmas. This is actually kind of a newer skein to me, and I ordered it and cast it on pretty quickly. I have a lot of yarn that I'm like saving for a special project or whatever, but I saw this one on Etsy and fell in love with it. So this is how it is knitting up. And hey, I wrapped the yarn around the outside too to show off the way the striping is. So it's an olive, kind of a rose gold kind of pink, silver, green, and gold, and then back to olive. I really love the way these are working up. I just did a tubular cast on, and I knit through 1 full repeat of the striping sequence in rib, and then I just started doing stockinette stitch, and I got so much done just in an evening of kind of hanging out with friends. And I love a good stockinette sock for hanging out with others because I can knit and not have to look at it, and it keeps my hands busy and allows me really to pay attention more to the conversation, I think. So that's 1 pair. And then I cast on a pair for a Christmas gift. So this is another Kitchen Counter Crafter bag. This is the one with the snap top. And this yarn is Bay Street Yarns. There we go, Bay Street Yarns. And it's called Boozy Christmas on the John Henry base, I believe is the base name. It is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon base. I just absolutely love this colorway. It's called Boozy Christmas, and I cast on a pair of what are going to be like booty socks, like for wearing with little, you know, booties that are so cute, like for going out. Not even like, not that we're going out, but anyway, these are for a gift. These are going to be for my sister-in-law. And so I've knit the rib, the very short leg, and the heel flap. I'm almost done with the heel flap, and I'll be getting ready to do that heel turn here shortly. I'm gonna knit this all just in this colorway. I don't think I'm going to use any coordinating yarn or anything. So Boozy Christmas socks coming up. I intend to knit 2 pairs of socks with this, at least 2 pairs of socks with this skein of yarn for Christmas gifts for a couple of my sister-in-laws, because I think they will really like it. And then the only other thing I have on the needles right now is a sweater. The last time I showed it to you, it was only the neck of a sweater, and I have gotten quite a bit done on my FELIX pullover. I'm knitting the body. I'm adding length to the body so that it will hit me where I want it to when I wear it. But this yarn is absolutely beautiful. You can see the tweedy flecks in it of like neon color. I'm really, really loving it. So this yarn is Kelborn Woolens Lucky Tweed, and the colorway is Viridian. It is an absolutely beautiful yarn. It is made in Ireland, and it's just so soft and squishy, and it's got all of these like beautiful blips of color, and I am loving it so much. So I'm working on the body. I think I need to try it on again before I knit any further on it probably, and see. I think it's about where I want it to be before I start the rib. So yeah, and then I'll just have sleeves to go, but I'm really excited about it. I love the color. And this is the FELIX pullover. I can tell you who it's by Savory Knitting. Show the full thing. This has been a popular pattern. I think a lot of people have knit it. Yes, the FELIX pullover. But it's really, the way the raglan increases are done is really beautiful. Although I did have to write it, make myself a chart to mark off. Not a chart necessarily, but a list kind of thing to mark off. Because the way that it was written in the pattern, the text, it was all text, and it just wasn't working for me to be able to remember what to do. So, but you can see the raglan increases there. I really love how it's turning out. So I am excited. But yes, I think it's time to begin that bottom rib. So that is all the works in progress. I have quite a few things that I'm excited to cast on soon. And some new designs that I'm working on. But yeah, that's the knitting. I'm going to pause for a minute and get this big box of awesome yarn that I have to show you, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I mentioned before when I was telling you about the Swift gift socks that I finished that Janice had posted them, and then I had sent her a message saying like, I need this, send it to me. And she does that. And so when I told her that I was making all kinds of hats for Christmas and that I needed some more of our Biddleville DK, she packed me up a box and sent it my way. So I want to show you what I got. This is the It's Fall Y'all colorway, and this is the color that I used for the TREADHEAD hat that I knit. And so this is the hat, and this is it, the yarn, Queen City yarn. This colorway is available over at queencityyarn.com. And this is the Biddleville DK base. I think this will be a great colorway to knit up for a hat as a gift. And I got a couple other new colorways. Well, this one is the newest colorway that I got. It's called Mr. Big is Back. It is another Biddleville DK skein, and this was the show exclusive color for the Black Mountain Yarn Shop Indie Extravaganza that happened the same week and the same weekend as SAF. And so this is Mr. Big is Back. I absolutely love this. My daughter got her winter coat is an olive green color, and I think that this will be a really fun color to knit her a hat out of to go with her coat. And I also asked Janice to send me a skein of mohair. This is the avocado toast colorway. When we started doing mohair, I got really excited because now I want to hold mohair with everything. So I'm thinking that that would be absolutely gorgeous for her new coat. And I said, I've got a lot of hats that I need to knit for guys, so I need some like neutral kind of guy colors. And so she sent me two of what she knows are two of my all-time favorite colorways that are just neutral grays. We have Sharpie versus the Fridge, which is over here. This was one of the Mom Nightmare colorways that I designed a couple of years ago. Sharpies versus the Fridge, you know, no explanation needed there. And then this colorway is called I Don't Do the Sunday Crossword. These are both just really fun, you know, this one's variegated, this one's highly speckled colorways that are neutral and would be great for hats. And so I'm going to be knitting these up into Dan hats, or hats for Dan, I think. So these are both on the Biddleville DK base. And then I got a skein of Rust, which is the colorway that I had used. Oh, it's not showing up correctly color-wise on the screen, but this is the color that I had used for the pattern photos for the Cozy Crisp cabled mitts. And both of my kids really liked that orange color. And so I asked her if she had a skein of this to also please include it in my box. So that's also Biddleville DK. But wait, there's more. I got a whole sweater quantity of avocado toast on the Biddleville DK base. This is the color that I will be using to design my off-the-cuff cardigan, which I am working on slowly but surely. It will be my first garment design, and I'm really excited about it, but it's also a little bit intimidating, so I'm taking extra time to make sure that I get it right, and will of course be enlisting the help of my tech editor and test knitters and all of that jazz as well. But it's in the works. I have the yarn now, and I've been swatching and doing all of that kind of stuff, and I'm super excited to get that on the needles, and I will show it on the podcast as I work through it. And I think that'll be fun to kind of see the progression of that, you know, first garment design of mine. And then I got a sweater quantity of Chadbourne in the Fiddlehead colorway. So this is only 2 of the skeins. I have 4 skeins. This is Chadbourne. This is another Queen City yarn exclusive that we're having milled up at Echo View Fiber Mill up in the North Carolina mountains. Chadbourne is an 80% domestic merino, 20% alpaca. It's all locally sourced and, like I said, locally spun. This is the Fiddlehead colorway, and I just absolutely love it. I have had a thing for marled yarns for a while now, and I just couldn't be happier with the way Chadbourne came out and the way that it knits up. Janice had a sample of the No Frills pullover knit in the undyed version of Chadbourne, and it is gorgeous. So I don't know if I'll knit that sweater or if I'll choose another one to knit, but I'm really, really excited about working these up into a sweater. And so that is the new yarns that I got. I have a couple of other new things, but I'll show those as I use those. There's a ton of Queen City yarn in the shop right now. Everything that came back from those shows has been uploaded, as well as some extra inventory that they had there is uploaded now. And so yeah, if you need yarn for gift knitting or to let someone know that you want as a gift, all of that is over at QueenCityYarn.com. So I think that's all for today. It was extra long because of all the finished objects, but I'm so excited that I had so many things to share with y'all today. I don't have any spinning to talk about, but maybe next time, and maybe by the next time I'll have something new on the frame loom. Who knows? So until then, happy making.